When we first started our rescue, it was a horse rescue. That's why we call it the Layla Rose Ranch Horse Rescue. But over time, we found that, well, we rescued miniature horses, we rescued donkeys, standard donkeys, and then, of course, we rescued these guys right here. These are miniature donkeys right here. Say hello, hello, cookies and cream. Hello, cookies and cream. Yeah, is there anything cuter than a miniature donkey? I mean, why wouldn't you? Well, yeah, nothing cuter than that. Roxanne's over there too. I see you, Roxanne. And it made me really think about business, right? And how we when we hire, we tend to hire people like us. And that's the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs always used to make, was that they would hire someone who is like themselves. They're driven, or they've got this kind of personality, and it's made them successful to that point. And so they think, well, I need more people like me. And I think it's the biggest mistake we used to make that we've kind of started to fix, right? I think we're getting better about that. And then how we fix that? Well, we started adding profiling systems, right? So we started doing assessments and profiles and things to see, is this a good thing or not a good thing? Are we saying what we should be, are we casting the right people into the right roles? Is this a good fit for them? But now that I see us spending all this money, whether it be things like Myers-Briggs or social profiles or strength finders, I mean, the Gallup system, there's so many different ones that are out there that are all good. See what I mean by cute? Okay. And so, but the thing is, in order for us to be successful, we kind of need like horses and donkeys and miniatures and all of them, right? If my company is all miniature donkeys, I may be a very cute company, but I'm not going to be successful. I need all those personalities. And we figured that out. And so we started using these profiling systems, these assessments, in order to help us with that information. And the problem that we find ourselves in now is that we've got two mistakes that we're now making as leaders within the organization. The first mistake is that we ignore those results, right? We ignore the data. So the data tells us that this may not be the right fit for this role. This person may not be the right one for that role, but we're in the interview and we just got this gut feeling. We feel so good about them that they're going to this is the right person. I know it's the right person. So we ignore the data, we ignore what that says, and we go ahead and hire them anyway. I had a CEO who confessed to me in an interview, very transparent, a few weeks ago, that says, hey, look, I've done that. I've gone against what the assessment said, and it's cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. He said, I just know it has, in lost revenue, in just in turnover, and just all the things, the churn that it creates when you put the wrong person in that position. And we all know that pain and feel that pain. So what he was saying was like, look, if we're going to do this, okay, let's use the results. Let's listen to the results. Let's pay for them, right? So that was what they did, number one. The second mistake that I see us making is that we treat those things as if they are a hiring tool and not a development tool. When you're going to invest the money into something like a profiling system, social profiles, strength finders, any of those that you're using, right? What they're doing is giving you data on the strengths and weaknesses of that person. So your job is to say, okay, I'm going to put you in roles where your strengths can be utilized and done good, but I'm not going to ignore your weaknesses, because the reason why they're my weaknesses is because no one helps me develop beyond those. And today's employee, they want to be the best version of themselves. And your job as a leader is to not only help the company grow profitably, but to help your people grow profitably as well, for them to be the best version of themselves. So if you're using those testings, if you're using those profiling systems, congratulations, that's awesome. It's exactly what you need to do. They're very accurate. They do great things to help us out. But here's the problem. The problem is you can't ignore that data, right? If you're going to pay for it, okay, CEO or your COO, you need to follow that data and don't go against it, number one. And number two, if you're in the HR team, your job is professional development, right? Your job is to help them be the best version of themselves. So use those tools to also help you build their development plan.